Hey everyone, it's Tiki Bunny down here in the basement office putting together some really interesting video for everyone. I think this is probably the first time something like this has been shown off, so bear with me because I have something really cool to show everyone. What we're about to see is actually a car's eye perspective of the entirety of an auction process, not only going through the auction house, but being inspected, being put on a boat, and arriving here in America. And all this footage is courtesy of the AZ-1 that we brought in earlier in the year. Unfortunately, it had a dash cam that was not taken by customs, and the wonderful owner has provided this footage to me in the hopes that I can put it out in the world and really just have everyone see it, because it's just fascinating to watch the entirety of this process from a perspective that we really never get to see. All too often, you know, once it's through auction and it hits that exporter lot, it is just goes dark until it arrives here in America. So I hope everyone enjoys this, and thanks for watching. So we're going to kick this off by looking at the hood of our AZ-1. It's in an unnamed USS auction lot somewhere. Not quite sure where it is, but here comes the inspector talking on his cell phone, unsurprising. What he's doing at this point in time is just looking around the outside of the vehicle. Eventually he'll come inside and just look for any demerits or bonuses on the vehicle, aftermarket parts, etc. Looks like maybe a supervisor or an expert of some kind to take a look at this, because it is a pretty rare car and highly desirable. And oh, here we go. We got a jump cut and we are on top of a parking structure. Definitely something that USS is known for. It is nighttime, which is surprising. I believe this was back in March of 2024. So it's certainly not unsurprising that it's dark earlier in the night. Certainly a word on the time code in the top right. I'm not entirely sure if this is completely correct, if it's just defaulted to this, because this does jump around a little bit as we pass what looks like a Daihatsu Copen right there. That's really cool. And one of the things that I've learned through watching this footage is just how much each vehicle gets moved. And when you see that the average auction lot has a few thousand vehicles on it, the amount of logistical perfection that has to happen at these facilities, especially because most of these vehicles are going to pass through here week over week. So this isn't just something that happens once and is done. This happens over and over and over again. It does look like they're taking the tag off and we're driving down a parking structure. Again, I'm going to guess this is US Tokyo, just based on how big this structure really is. It could be any of the USS auction houses. Now, the irony of this whole thing is I didn't know that it went through a USS auction house at all, because I purchased this from a different auction chain entirely, which we're going to see in a little bit. But one of the things that really impresses me about this bit, especially coming out of a USS facility, is look how many trucks there are. Each one of these trucks holds, what, a dozen cars, and they're all lined up, all numbered, and each and every one of these vehicles has to know exactly where it's going, which is incredibly impressive when you know how many vehicles are actually coming through here every week. So again, the logistical perfection that has to be achieved here to not send a vehicle to the wrong place or the wrong owner or the wrong dealer's lot must just be an incredible challenge. And one that I'm sure they have just down to a science at this point in time. So it does look like it's very late at night or early in the morning, and we are getting loaded onto our first truck behind what looks like a Toyota Toyo Ace. So this is interesting. We're leaving the USS facility on to hopefully the next step in our journey. So let's see where we end up next. Well, it's another day, and it's quite the jump cut, but we're being loaded off of this truck to a whole new facility. Now, if I were to fancy a guess, this would be judging by the terrain and the building over here on the right, the Ju Gifu auction house, which is where we actually purchased this from. So this is a smaller facility. It's housed in a single building. It does have quite the sprawl of parking lots around it. Oh, there's the logo right there. You can see it up on the top right corner of the building once we turn. Suzuki Alto Lapin right there? Nope, Daihatsu Move. So now we're getting a pretty good look at the inspection process at this chain of auction houses. It doesn't look much different than the USS process, with an inspector giving a once-over to the vehicle's external and internal qualities, noting any demerits. As you can see, he's just put the auction sheet there on the dash, and it looks like we're going to be following this, what is that, a Nissan Clipper van? Hopefully into the inspection bays, because I'm hoping that's what it is over here, but let's take a look. Oh yes, we're gonna go check out the inspection bays. That's really cool. So as we enter the inspection bays, I don't know about you guys, but this kind of gives me theme park vibes. Like the entrance to a ride or when you're first getting onto it. It's just really interesting to see the industrial look of it, knowing how efficient it is. It's just really interesting to see, you know, this portion of it. And what I didn't notice in the initial pass through is there's actually two aisles here. There's an aisle on the left that you can see the door opening and closing, so that's pretty cool that they're doing that in a way that's improving efficiency. But here we are. It looks like there's a photo booth in front of us, so that's where they take all the auction photos. You're gonna seal that up from both ends to knock out the sunlight while our car gets inspected underneath. Now, they did not find any scraps of rust on this one underneath or above. This car was meticulously maintained over 91,000 kilometers. In fact, when we bought the car, it actually came with 18 years of service records from the Mazda dealership that the previous owner had bought it from. So this car was definitely loved, and I just always love to see it. And here we go, we're rolling into the photo booth. So traditionally an auction listing will have 2 to 8 photos depending, and it looks like these cameras, or these little dark squares over here, are all different cameras that can do, what, 12 photos all at once? And then the auctioneer on the right will likely take photos of the inside of the car while the driver is in it. So that's really nifty to see. I mean, it's, oh, there we go, and we're outside all of a sudden, so it looks like a quick jump cut from the engine turning off to back on, and we're back out in the lot. So from here on in, I'll speed up the footage a little bit. You can just see the incredible volume of cars that are out here. And again, this auction house, Ju Gifu, is one of the smaller ones, all things considered. So just to see the sheer volume of cars that pass through this facility is wild to me. And the parking lots just keep going. If you take a look at this from the satellite imagery, you can really see that there's just a ton of vehicles here. So now we're rolling past a whole line of relatively new K trucks. And we're going to get parked here, I would assume. Nope, we're going to keep going and find our parking space until we can get transported onto the next lot. So another time skip. This one looks like another rainy day here in Japan. And it does look like we're getting loaded onto another transport. I would imagine that this one is going to be away from the Ju Gifu facility and onto Car Deal Page's lot, likely in the Nagoya area. So that's good. So let's see where we're going next. And as we take a look at this, 2018 Toyota Vitz, looks like here we go. We're offloading in Nagoya. So it looks like a nicer day. Still a little bit of rain, but that's cool. So we're leaving, oh, it looks like a holding facility actually, into the countryside of Japan. Now I'm going to speed up the footage here significantly because this clip is fairly long, but you do see that there is a either a wholesaler or an exporter plate on there to make it road legal. So it looks like we might be going a little ways, probably from the car deal page facility to the actual docks. So let's take a look at the countryside and what we've got around here. Lots of cool K-trucks, some newer, some older, as we just kind of take in the Japanese countryside, past some farms. Over some bridges in a residential area, maybe a shrine on the right. That's really cool. Just to kind of take in the area and just the life and watch these little cars go by and leave Japan for their trips to America. And it looks like we actually are approaching another holding facility, so this might be Car Deal Page's lot after all. Maybe there's two of them. I'm not sure, but this looks like where the truck is. Yep, we're definitely getting on a truck here as we drive past this tennis ball green Toyota Prius, which I definitely appreciate the color of. But this is what, the fourth, maybe even fifth truck we've been on at this point in time. Would you look at that? It's the exact same truck too. So even though this truck dropped us off at the other facility, we're being picked up here because the license plate 3666 is identical. So as we get loaded up on this one, I hope our final destination here is the port, because this is quite a lot of transport, way more than I anticipated as we make this journey here. Quick change of scenery here as we've got a nice bridge in the background, but it looks like we're gonna say goodbye, hopefully for the final time, to old 3666. And yes, this has to be a port facility. There's just no way around that. I can't imagine that we've found another holding facility at this point in our journey. But yes, this definitely looks like a port, so hopefully we will see where we're going on another rainy day. Oh, it looks like we've got another time skip, and this time it's a much nicer day. This was, I believe, in either March or April of 2024. So it looks like we're lining up against quite a number of K-trucks, all unsurprisingly 90s models that are about to make their way to America. Now, I am unfamiliar with the model of Ford that's in front of us, but it's got to be something that enthusiasts love because we probably didn't get it here. But I do see there's a Mitsubishi Town Box on the right, which is very cool. Looks like a red Honda Acti up there, maybe retired fire service. And oh, look at that little black van right there on the left. That is a Toyota Estima, nicely lowered, and a Suzuki Jimny JB23. All sorts of really cool stuff heading in. And here we go. We're on the boat. We're leaving Japan for the last time. So there is our ship, the Euphony Ace. And let's take a look at, wow, just how big this thing is. You know, I thought it was a warehouse at front when I saw it off to the side, but seeing the interior of this thing, it's not far off. This is truly colossal. You know what? I'm not even going to speed up this footage just because of how big this ship is and how far we're actually going, how many decks it is. I honestly don't have any idea what the capacity of these ships are. That was what, 5-6 decks up? And oh, there's even more. Wow, that just goes on forever. Man, this guy's got to be up to like 35 miles an hour just down these halls of this massive ship, and it still keeps going. This little K-car is just a speck, too, compared to how big the rest of this facility really is. I mean, I'm almost hesitant to call it a ship because it's just so big. And we've got even more decks. Although it looks like this might be our level. I'll speed it up just a little bit here as we're getting into position. Just a whole row of JDM goodness across the way. Those are all the K-trucks that I'm sure we are seeing outside that are moving in here. So let's see where we're going. Is this our final position? Okay, are we backing in? We're backing in. Subaru Legacy Wagon, Toyota Crown out there. There's the Toyota Estima. And there we go. We're going to get strapped down. And I think this is our final moments in Japan. So cool. So here we go. The lights are different. Looks like a Subaru about to make its way out. Hopefully this means we're next. Looks like our vehicle is starting and stopping a little bit. Got workers taking off of what looks like a Chevy Colorado. So certainly I believe we're in America at this point in time. And let's just take a look at the journey. We will speed up the footage this time because we know how big the ship is. But at the same time, I want to leave it here just to see how incredibly expansive this whole thing is. And just driving through it is so cool. And you'll notice a lot of these bays are empty, and that's certainly not from a lack of vehicles that are being transported. Oh, look at the underglow on that Integra. That's great. There are so many other ports in this vehicle's journey, whether it's Hawaii, the West Coast, Mexico, South America, Panama, hey, a Pajero Mini, or the Caribbean, or even other East Coast ports like Freeport and Jacksonville. Vehicles are just constantly being offloaded from these things, and something tells me that we're not going to see a ton of them coming back on. A lot of these truck chassis here are probably destined for Europe, for enterprise clients like the manufacturer. And here we go. We see daylight. All right, we're rolling off the Euphony Ace and into what is absolutely 100% the port of Newark. So there we have it. Our little AZ-1 has crossed the Pacific, gone through the Panama Canal, crossed along the Atlantic coast, and is now here in Newark. So if you've been in Newark's facility, you know that these are pretty expansive, certainly not as large as other ports. But that bridge right there tells us that we are in New Jersey, so we have completed our journey with a lot of these brand new cars for other manufacturers. But being at this port prior, it's really the little imports that are just the most interesting things. So here we have it. Our little AZ-1 has made it. We see a Nissan Figure over there, a Skyline, Land Rover Defender, some K trucks. And that's it. We're going to get parked, and this is the final moments of our journey. From here, it's going to get put on a truck, and it's going to get brought down to Maryland and delivered to its wonderful new owner. So, again, thanks so much for showing us this footage and just giving us the opportunity to share this with the world. I think it's incredible. I don't think anyone's seen this kind of stuff before, so I hope everyone had a really good time watching the journey of our little K car. Looks like its final place in the port before it gets picked up is next to an Acti, that Integra, and an S2000. So our playful little Mazda in a corner full of Hondas. So what a fitting end to the journey, being here on a wonderful sunny day, ready to go to its forever home and bring a lot of people a ton of joy. So there you go, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us on this journey. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you in the next one.